Good morning, and welcome to the Sunday special edition of the Daily Roast Radio, where we cover the news so you don't have to experience it firsthand.
Excitedly, I'm Jane, and that's Joe, bringing you the freshest absurdities from around the globe, bright and early.
Morning, Jane. Today we're asking the big questions. Is your E. coli immune boosting? And how much is your emotional compensation worth? Quick local check before we dive in. It's Sunday, 29th March 2026, about 0937.
Outside right now, partly cloudy, 1C, feels like minus 2C, wind 3 kilometers per hour. Basically, dress for drama and keep your coffee close. Also, can you still call it royalty-free if Dolby wants to sue you for its oral and visual resonance doctrine?
Apparently not. Let's dive in before the world finds another way to make us pay for existing.
First up, in politics, a headline that had us all doing a double take.
Crisis looms. Caregivers now mandated to prearrange their own deaths to prevent orphaned adult epidemic.
Gasping! They're calling it posthumous dependent succession plans and pre-deceased simulations where dependents complain about snack choices.
This policy, Jane, has birthed a loved one futures market, so your relationships are now commodities. Honestly, it reminds me of the old newsroom back in the day. Trying to plan anything felt like prearranging your own professional demise.
We had to plan for your departure? Anyway, the government says it's to avoid a silver tsunami of unsupervised adults. Apparently, our fictional expert, Dr. Agnes Periwinkle, said, it's less about care, more about preventing a widespread Pringle shortage.
Moving to technology with a story that's been bubbling for a week now. Royalty-free video standard declared philosophically proprietary by Dolby demands emotional compensation from Snapchat users.
Dolby claims the AV1 codec is philosophically proprietary due to its oral and visual resonance doctrine. They want emotional compensation and a legacy recognition fee. Because your Snapchat filters just hit different with Dolby's spiritual guidance.
This is the open to endless creative litigation angle we mentioned last week. They're basically suing for good vibes. A legal expert who prefers to remain anonymous because their firm represents Dolby commented it's about the inherent oomph factor, not the bitrate.
From business, a truly wild ride for travelers. TSA unveils Rebooking Triathlon. Passengers must now compete to re-earn their right to fly.
The Proactive Passenger Recovery and Rebooking Triathlon PPRRT includes physical challenges, bureaucratic puzzles, and AI empathy simulations. It's essentially an obstacle course to get on standby.
The TSA claims satisfaction is high among exhausted finishers. So instead of streamlining, they're filtering less worthy passengers. One tired traveler, mid-Burby, told us, I just wanted to see my grandma. Now I'm questioning my life choices and my cardio.
Time for a quick word from the Daily Roast.
If you're enjoying this dose of reality-bending news, remember you can catch the Daily Roast every day for fresh satire. Check out our weekly top list, too.
All right, where were we? Ah, yes, science, and a headline that makes you want to hug your local health inspector. Raw Farm announces new immune-boosting strain of E. coli, calls symptoms pre-digestion euphoria.
Pre-digestion euphoria. They're rebranding cramps and kidney failure as internal spring cleansing. The CEO delivered the press conference via interpretive dance.
This is like the next chapter in our nation's epidermis ops for early retirement saga, isn't it? Our bodies are just fed up. Raw Farm is even launching a gut-wrenching rewards tier for hospitalized customers, exploiting some 1906 loophole for spiritual benefit products.
Next, in entertainment, the UN is getting involved. UN declares Last One Laughing a psychological atrocity, mandates emotional sanctuary zones for former contestants.
The show where contestants can't laugh is now a level 3 psychological atrocity. Former contestants suffer from compulsory mirth suppression syndrome and need international protection.
Turns out it's a covert tech experiment, Project Silent Chuckle, to control human emotions. Our UN correspondent, who once tried to get through a meeting without smirking, said it's harder than it looks, especially when the delegate from Pickleistan starts talking about brine leakage.
And now to sports, where Tiger Woods is pioneering a new brand strategy. Tiger Woods declares all future arrests to be strategic brand reinvention opportunities.
His team launched the Proactive Personal Progression Protocol, PPPP. They're releasing mugshot mastery NFTs and seeking corporate sponsorships for vehicular reevaluations.
It's blurring the lines between scandal and performance art. I remember when we had a private joke about a particularly spectacular on-air mishap, and you said, Joe, this is either the end or the beginning of your NFT collection. You were ahead of your time, Jane.
Finally, in world news, a follow-up to a story we covered yesterday. U.S. confirms missing Cuba aid convoy safely reached island, now sovereign fermented Commonwealth of Brine.
Yes, those missing aid boats from yesterday's unforeseen maritime self-discovery retreat have declared independence. They're now a nation-state dedicated to artisanal pickles, fueled by 15 tons of cucumbers.
It was a covert U.S. strategic culinary diplomacy initiative, and now fermento nationalist declarations are threatening global condiment markets. Dr. Periwinkle, our fictional diplomat, told us this is why you don't send aid packages without a clear pickle-to-person ratio.
And that's our Sunday special morning edition, folks. From prearranged deaths to emotional compensation, it's been a ride.
Indeed. We'll be back this afternoon with even more stories you won't believe are real, but absolutely are.
Until then, try not to get too emotionally compensated. We'll see you later.